Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final live for the month of October, showcasing the faces of cancer under the theme Think Pink but Fight Strong. We are the GD Caring and Sharing Cancer Support Group, a community that is dedicated to helping cancer patients, warriors, survivors, and their families through the journey of fighting cancer. We believe that cancer doesn't define a person and that everyone has the strength to live, love, and laugh despite the challenges that may come with this disease. Our mission as an organization is to support, motivate, and inspire those who are affected by cancer. We understand that dealing with cancer can be overwhelming both physically and emotionally. And that's why we provide our members with all of the necessary tools and resources that can help them cope and thrive during this difficult time. It's also why it's important for us to showcase these survivor stories as evidence that you can live after a cancer diagnosis and treatment. Our support group offers a wide range of programs and services that are designed to meet the unique needs of each individual. We have support group meetings, educational seminars, wellness workshops, social events, and so much more. As an organization, we are proud to have a team of compassionate and dedicated volunteers who are committed to making a difference in the lives of cancer patients, warriors, survivors, and their families. We believe that together we can make a difference in the fight for life. And I'm happy now to introduce one of our warrior sisters, Anita. Welcome to our live conversation today. How are you?
I am awesome, DeQuesta, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We need women like you to share your stories so that other people can be inspired, so that they can have evidence that you can have a cancer diagnosis. And if you do the right things, you
Right?
can actually thrive after cancer. So, Anita, let's open this
Exactly.
conversation right up immediately and tell me how your life changed 12 years ago. Tell us exactly what happened.
Okay, 12 years ago, it was on a Saturday afternoon. I actually was hosting and organizing the NASA Guardians Health Fair that I do annually, pre-COVID. And I know self-examinations, breast examinations. I was taught by my physician, Dr. Cindy Dorset, on how it should be done. And I would do it, I would conduct them quite often. And that evening, I came home and I went to take a shower and I did a routine check and I came across a lump. Bear in mind, the lump was extremely small. So immediately, I was not really alarmed because it was point 0.5 of a centimeter. So it was very, very, very small. Um, it it almost seemed as though it could have just been a bump, really, like a little bigger than a bump. And I felt it again. I realized, well, it didn't move because, of course, cancerous lumps don't move. And I said, okay, now this. I say, I don't know, just really a bump. I said, what I gonna do? I'm gonna wait and see what happens in the morning. I said, now this is in the same spot, and because it wasn't any sign of ingrown hair or like bringing it was coming to a head or anything of that sort. So by Sunday, I checked again and it was still there. And so what I did was I contacted my manager at the time to let her know what was going on. I told her, well, in the morning, if if I still feel this lump or bump, at the time I was saying it was a bump, I said I was going straight to the doctor.
So let me
And
just
Monday,
let me just ask you a question,
go
Anita.
ahead.
So you felt it and you didn't delay. You
No,
immediately
no,
okay.
immediately.
What was it that said to you, I'm going to the doctor Monday? What made you like really think to do that?
Well, I would tell you, by nature, I I act. That's in every in most areas of my life. I don't procrastinate. I try not my best not to procrastinate. And even in times of fear, I would still move forward. And I think in the back of my mind, I always would say, you don't know in this life, this journey, we don't know what we're going to be faced with. And so I always had an open mind in terms of being confronted with illnesses or anything that would happen. And I think I already had when you go into scenarios, like if something happened, okay, what you could do? You could freeze or you could move. And so even from that Saturday, I was already like, something, Monday morning, if this, I go into the doctor. And I would tell you, I was afraid, but I went. I went. I think I told my mom about it that Monday. I think no, Monday I went to the doctor. The only person I think I notified before I went to the doctor, my children knew because I think from Sunday also I had all of them check in. Come feel this. Tell me what this feel like to you. They always say, "Boy, mommy, boy, you was overreact now." I say, "Cause I was wondering if it was my mind because it was so small." I was like, "Okay, Anita, maybe you overreacted. This ain't really nothing much." When I felt it, they say, "Mommy, I think I could." They telling me they think they could feel something, but they ain't sure. So Monday I went to the doctor. Now, when I went to the doctor, I was told by the doctor that the lump was nothing to be concerned about, a bump, because it really wasn't even much of a lump. But
Wow.
I was told that it was nothing to be concerned about. That after a few days, it probably will go away. It probably was something hormonal that was going on, and it just manifested in that way, etc. And I don't know why something in my, when they say that gut feeling, that intuition, that kicked right
Yeah.
in because I literally told them, um, I would like to have a mammogram done. And they were like, I remember the doctor was like, you sure you want to go through that? Say, I don't think you really need to do this. Say, you could spend money for a mammogram. Say, but anyway, to appease you and to settle your mind, we could do it. And I went and I did the mammogram that same day because I was like, I wanted, they had all the stuff right on the facility. So I was like, I could do it now. Because if I had to go back to work, I'd have been going crazy in my mind. So I was like, let me
Right.
just do this now. And I think the fall, that was Monday. I think by Friday, I got a call. It was before the end of the week. I got a call and they told me on the phone, well, okay, Miss Rule, calling regarding your results. We need you to come in. Now, at that point, I've never gotten any results like that on the phone from any doctor. So I didn't know what that meant. But deep down, I had this gut feeling because I hung up the phone. I was like, something that's bad news.
Wow.
But I called my mommy. That's when I called her and I was telling her what happened. And I told her the doctor just called me and that's what they said. And she's like, that ain't good news. She was telling me, and she was explaining to me, she said, if a doctor, even with test results, etc., if it's blood work, once they ask you to come in, she said, it's nothing, it's not good. She said, if it's something positive, they more or less will just tell you on the phone, you
Right.
cleared, you good, etc. And I actually proved that in
Wow.
terms of going through my walk with cancer and my journey and even going, I ended up anyhow, I jumping ahead. But anyhow, I ended up going abroad to complete all of my
Wait, but right before
tests
you
and
even get that far, Anita, I see Judy is saying facing your fears, yes, and I see Deanne is saying having that peace of mind is very important. And I want
yeah.
to know, like, when the doctor called you and say, "Hey, come in," and your mom told you, that's not good news or whatever. What were the emotions that, like,
Um,
you know?
I was afraid, but I will tell you this. I was afraid, but fear wasn't the biggest part of what I was feeling at that point. I
Right,
literally sat down, because I was at work. So I was at my desk when I got the call from the doctor and I sat down after I got from my mommy and I was like, you know something? You got to deal with this, whatever this is. And I say, God didn't bring you this far to leave you. And
yeah,
whatever it is, I'm
yeah,
going to do what I have to do. And I
yeah,
just made up my mind right there and then that I can do this. Like
right,
I literally, so at the point when I went to actually physically drive in the car to go to the doctor's office, Like I wasn't all bent out of shape. I wasn't. It was like I literally was like on skates. I was like, I need to, what I need to do.
Right.
Because I remember when I went to get the results, they were telling me, giving me some options in terms of I guess oncologists or oncology surgeons, oncology surgeons. So they were like, well, Dr. Loxley Monroe was the first name. They were telling me about him. Um, I could remember he was probably, I think they said he was the best or something in terms of
Right.
surgery.
Okay.
And so I wanted to go like right there and then. Like I wanted to leave from them and head straight to him. And they were like, no, that don't work like that. You have to set an appointment. But the
Uh-huh.
lady, the nurse, she really assisted me because what she did, because I was like, well, Lord, how long this appointment is? I said, I need to go tomorrow then. She said, I think you can be able to get in there tomorrow.
You
I
weren't
said,
playing. You weren't playing with
trust me.
this.
She had to
No.
call him right there and then. And
Wow.
she literally was able to get me in there the next day.
Wow. I see
She was like,
Candice is saying that you are her strong warrior sister. And Miss
love
Judy
you,
is
Candice.
saying, Amen. When you say God
Yes,
brought you to it, He wouldn't leave
that's
you. Miss
right.
Judy says, Amen. And Deanna is saying, Amen. He will take you through it.
Screw it.
Anyway,
Exactly.
girl,
He
then
will.
let's get back to this juicy story. So you got somebody to get you into Doctor.
Right. The next
Okay,
day.
tell us now.
And so I think that was on a Monday when I went there. And Tuesday morning, I was in Dr. Loxley Monroe's office.
Wow.
And well, he told me, well, his diagnosis, he checked that, and he said, he said it wasn't bad. He said that it is very small. He actually asked me, how did I find it? I
Hmm.
mean, everybody kept asking me, how you find that? Because this is so small. Like, how did you even identify this, Stephen? I tell him, child, only must be God, because I don't know, because everybody keep asking me, it was so small, how I found it. I say, child, only could be God. That's what I know. But I told them, like, I am in tune with my body. I can
Mhm.
oftentimes feel if my body's out of whack. If something is going on, I could tell. And I think most women, if you pay attention, you can tell when something is not right.
Mm.
Sometimes you would overlook it, or out of fear and denial, you will talk yourself out of it. But if you really think strongly, you would be like, something. I felt a little something was off, or I sometimes you just feel off. You don't feel
Mhm.
centered. You don't feel balanced. You don't feel you. It may not be some extreme pain, but you can oftentimes tell when something is not right.
Okay.
And from I felt that lump, I know I was extremely exhausted, but something, my intuition kicked right in, and I was like, no, something ain't right.
Right.
I don't normally have no bumps and whatever, so I don't know. Now maybe some people have fibrocystic breasts and they have other stuff going on, so it wouldn't be too alarming.
Mhm.
But for me,
Right.
I did not want to leave it for chance.
Yeah. What you're
And
bringing up, though, Anita, is
mhm,
that it's important for us to know what normal is. Like you're
right,
proving that
you
point.
have
Like
to know.
once you
You
know
have to
what
know.
normal is, if you feel something out of whack, then you know, hey, this is
Right, right,
abnormal.
and that's
Okay.
even why I would encourage women to do self examinations of your own body, so that you
Hmm.
know your body. So when something else is going on, you're able to detect it and
Yeah.
know whether or not you need to seek further attention,
Okay.
medical attention. You know,
So now, when you went to Dr. Monroe, what happened there?
well, he did his examination, etc. And then I remember his thing to me was he said it was nothing alarming. In terms of he said yes, it is cancer, but he said it's not extreme. Um, I had to do I think at that point I missed a step. No, I went to Dr. Monroe. I had the biopsy. I had a biopsy done. No, he told me to do the biopsy. That's what. Then I had to go back to him. That's what I had
Okay.
to share do that biopsy. So within that 1 week, I was able to. I went to the doctor Monday. Tuesday was the Dr. Monroe, and I think the biopsy is done that Thursday or Friday, like 2 days later, like the earliest possible. I did everything within that same week, and then the following week, I got the biopsy results back. And I remember him telling me, um, it was stage, no, it was stage one. That was what I was initially told. It was stage one. He told me it's stage one. He told me I only need to do a lumpectomy because it was contained. And he told me to do it, try to do it immediately. He said, oftentimes with cancer survivors or persons who are diagnosed, what he finds out that is often the death sentence is that he gives them the diagnosis, they go home, say they have to talk to their family, consult with this one, consult with that one. And so sometimes you don't see them until 6 months or a year later, they coming back
Ooh,
to you. He said, because sometimes they just drag their feet. And maybe it's
right,
oftentimes out of fear. So they
right,
will come in and it'll be at this stage or at this point, and then he's saying that you go home and then you wait till weeks later when it probably start to grow and then you start to have other additional complications. Then you come
right,
back and then it's
right.
already changed and transformed into something else
Correct. Because early detection only helps if you do something
right away,
early,
right away.
right?
Exactly.
Right.
So I
Okay.
remember him telling me, he was like, don't drag your feet. Um, Act now. He said, if you could do this surgery next week, he said, let's do the surgery next week. And so I went home. I spoke to my mom, but my family basically, but my immediate family, which was my parents, my significant other. My children was too young. They was only
Right.
in grade 7. They was
Listen,
in high.
I'm laughing because Darlene is in Atlanta, and she is
Oh,
saying when she got diagnosed, she dashed to that breast surgeon quick. She wasn't lingering.
yes,
So anyway,
yes,
you spoke with your family members who could
right.
understand what was
They have
going
to determine the course of action. Like in terms of at this point, it was like, okay, should he do the surgery? Who would be the best person to do the surgery? Should I seek a second opinion, etc.? So my mom was like, yes, a second opinion is always best. But everybody was like, move right away. So I wanted to seek a second opinion. So what my mom did, she then, I guess, started to do some research within her circle and persons that she knew. And she was able to speak. I trying to remember the name of the lady who I spoke to, who is surviving in
on.
Freeport. I think her Janet Bostwick,
Okay.
Minister Janet Bostwick, her sister. But
Okay.
I think she's about 30 years now, maybe 30 something. She's a long-term survivor.
Okay.
And my mom knows her. I just remember because I remember it was her surgeon that I ended up using. So she gave
Okay.
mommy his name. His name is Dr. Nicholas Tranicus. He is an awesome, oh my God, he's an awesome gentleman. And she referred me to go to him. And so within, I didn't go the following week, but probably like within 2 to 3 weeks after my initial visit with Dr. Monroe, because I went back to him, I told him what I was going to do. He had to send a referral to me. And then I went over to Florida for my second consultation with Dr. Tranicus. And he, of course, had to do all of the extensive blood work. And I tell people I never know you do so much tests because they did tests from my head to my foot to every, I don't know, the bone, the this, the that, every
Checking
test they could
everything.
do. Test scan, everything.
Yes.
I did so
Yes.
much tests, I don't even know. And so he had to do all extensive tests before he came up with his diagnosis and course of action, etc. And everything came back good. He said the diagnosis was the same. Basically, it was in line with Dr. Monroe. He said, I only need to do a lumpectomy. He gave me the ways, he gave me the pros and cons. He said, when they go in to do the surgery, he said, if he saw anything going on, he asked me to give him permission to just
Okay.
do whatever was needed, etc. So instead of him go back again. So I tell him, of course, that was that was a go. And he went in and he did that. The only thing is I think he said I had two lymph nodes that were affected. And so
Mm.
we had to take those out. That was it.
Okay.
And afterwards, he said he recommended that I do chemotherapy radiation. He said, now some persons
How
radiation,
was
he said, when you at that stage, he said some people say they opt out of it. But he just was
hmm
telling me for longevity, he was telling me to go with
right.
he was trying to give me the most extreme form of I guess treatment. Um
hmm
and he said some people opt, but I told him I was good with it. I would go through with it, etc. So I had to do 6 rounds of chemo, 6 rounds of radiation.
Okay.
Um
How
the
was
chemo
chemo? How did your body respond to the actual chemo and radiation? And how did you keep the mental fortitude?
I will tell you at that point in my life, Charles, if I was even shaky, wavering with God, I tell people that was like the turnaround time for me to really forge. a relationship with God. I I sometimes I even have, I tell people I normally have like my pressure sometimes will be borderline. Okay, like borderline. That's something that runs in our family. Um, I tell people when I was going through chemo, radiation, all these things, that must be the best my pressure been in my whole life.
Wow.
My pressure was to be like 110 over 80 or 70. I don't even know. Like everything was used to be. I remember my doctor way. She used to tell me saying, she asked me how I get Francis cancer because you so healthy. Because like
Wow.
my blood work and everything used to come back on point. I never had no problems, and I would tell you with like your white blood cells things, your white blood cells will be affected, or you will have situations where sometimes you could even have respiratory issues. These are just side effects.
Right.
Now some persons they may have it long term where they battling for such a
Right.
long period of time, but what I did, I got a lot of literature on chemo. So
Okay.
I read up on everything from using using plastic stuff, eating very bland, no spices, drinking plenty water, of course, because I remember my oncologist, she's always tell me, drink plenty water, flush the
Right.
toxins out. And
Right.
I am very extreme. She used to tell me
Right.
drink plenty water. I used to run through a case of water in 2 days.
Wow. I see Darlene is saying mental fortitude is the thing, and
Thing,
that's
yes.
what gives you
You have to
peace.
keep yourself boosted up.
Correct. And she
I
said,
used to listen to a lot. Like I used to listen to at the time I remember TD Jakes, Joel Osteen.
yeah,
I had my people I used to listen like every day, like all day. Like my sister, because in Fort Lauderdale, my sister was in college at the time, and she will tell you from I wake up in the morning, that's all I listening to. All I listening to. And don't let me start to feel, because after chemo, the first day you just feel good. The second day, you just feel okay too. When that third day kick in, you just feel like something like on tractor run over your whole body.
mm-hmm.
And the body aches, it's be like a lot of body aches and muscle pains and stuff. But they told me that, and she used to tell me, well, take the leave. So for me, I used to pop that a leave, must be from the end of day two. I ain't waiting for day three to kick
Okay,
in. I
okay,
pop that a leave before. Now I know a couple times I'll be like, let me see how this could really feel. Let me see if I could really deal with this. And I would I tell you, so I'll try to see if I have my resistance. So I'll be like, let
right.
me see how if I could tolerate this, how this could feel. And it used to have you feeling like you just knock right out. But then
Wow.
after, when you're going into like day four, going into day five, you'll start to rally back up. But
Okay.
it never, I never threw up. They gave me like a lot of what you call it?
Bravo, Ale.
Yeah, and it was another medication I had a prescription for, but I never
Okay.
even cracked the seal on those medication because
Wow.
mentally for me, I would say something. Every medication has a side effect.
Right.
So if I feel like, okay, I already taking chemo, and then I going to go take this too. Then you're like,
Right.
this could make something trigger something else, make me feel worse. And so I say, so if I could avoid taking, let me try to avoid taking as much as what I could. So
Wow.
I used to be trying to do a lot of natural stuff, a
Okay.
lot of natural, like I noticed I used to eat, like even if I eat tuna, I would eat the tuna, but I would eat the tuna literally out the can, and I would just squeeze some lemon on that, and I would eat that.
Okay.
If I eat grits, no salt, no butter.
Mm,
My food used
wow.
to be tasteless, but I
Man.
used to eat
Okay.
because I know I had to eat.
Right.
So it was never where, like how some persons say they don't eat. I could understand because sometimes your taste buds is really out of whack. For true,
Right.
and I would tell you after my third treatment, that's when you really just feel it. Like
Okay.
you taste buds out of whack, you ain't tasting nothing. Things like cardboard, like it's really big, but you just gotta eat to eat.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
so
see
I was at this point.
Darlene
I have to do
here.
what I have to do.
Yes, absolutely. I see Darlene is saying that her medical oncologist told her to be sure to stand on her feet and listen to worship music and meditate.
Every
That's
day.
exactly what you said.
That's
And
what
Miss
I have to
Amy
do.
is saying that chemo can swap your energy. Deanna is
Yes,
saying that it's really mind over matter,
over matter.
and that
That's what it
you
is.
even have these same feelings after radiation. I see Deanna is saying she agree with you, go the natural and healthy way. And I see
Yes,
Tanisha is saying that's right. She's talking about, doing what you have to do, I
to
guess, or
do.
the feelings
Yeah.
that you really go through. So chemo and radiation had you, and you just had to
Right.
put yourself in
I
a
had to make up my
mental.
mind that this what I'm going to have to do. I did not in my mind too. But I would tell you, don't go with any preconceived ideas on what you're going to experience. Because for me, before I started, that is what I had to do. Even when I went into surgery, because that's my first time ever going in any surgery. Because even
Wow.
though I had my children, I had natural childbirth. So for
Right.
me, I always don't learn. Only time I only stayed in hospital overnight for both of my children.
Wow.
I didn't never had complications. I never was hospitalized for anything else. So even going in to do surgery, I had to literally like pump myself up mentally and get in that space. And I was like, I used to be in there talking to God all the time. I say, buddy, only me and you and him. And I used to talk like I was talking to you.
Right. Right.
I tell you now. And so I used to say, you know something? Only me and you and here and my life in your hands. And at the
Right.
end of the day, I got to a point and I told people, you have to come face to face to understand. We on this journey called life. We don't know when the last day is going to be. And I came to the point to say, you know something? You have me here for a purpose, but if this is the end for me, I am okay as well.
That
You
acceptance is
understand? Like I
serious.
you
Yes.
have to be able to, but I know you have a calling on my life and I know there's more to it.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
remember even going to sleep one night and I dreamt, I would say, because I tell people like when you talk to God, he oftentimes talks back to you.
Yes.
And so before I even started anything, I remember it was like, you ain't going nowhere no time soon. You have a lot more to do.
Yes.
So I went through that, but I told people I never for 1 minute felt going through what I was going through that was going to take me out.
Yes. I see
I was
Deanne
like, this is a
saying
testimony.
that yes, you have to have that conversation with God.
Yep.
And I see Wani Lavisha is saying yes to what you're saying because, like you said, if he took you through it, he'll bring you through it. And I
Too.
love that
That's
you
right.
spoke to him and you let him know this on you, right?
Yeah,
I
that's it.
showing
That
up by
and
doing my
it's
part, and
only
that's
him.
on you, right?
Because you could have family there. When
Right.
you go in those surgery rooms, when you go in to do those chemo, yeah, you could have the support. You could have persons there,
Yes.
but it's only you and him. It's
Yes.
only you and him. You
Absolutely.
don't really, yeah. So for me, I spend a lot of time praying. I spend a lot of time meditating and talking to God. Like, because and I tell people I don't talk to God in terms of just praying. I speak to him the way I speak to a human.
Hmm.
So even if you see me in the room with myself, child, I mean him having a one-on-one. I talking. If you see
Yes.
sometimes I'll get up and if I even feeling like I remember some days when I get up and if I having a bad day, my bad day will be when I achy. I used to have like aches and pains. I remember that. But I know I have joint problems as well. Because my
Mhm.
mom, she has bad joints. So I just have joint pain on a regular, like not
Yes.
regular, but if I, yeah. So for me, I have to continuously exercise and try to keep myself active because
Yes.
I don't. My mother's mother was bedridden. She had arthritis, and she was
Yes.
to the point years before that she was bedridden. So I know that that is something that runs in my family. So I am very conscientious about that and being
Mhm.
active. I always, if I even me fall off from exercise, I'd be like, "Child, you better get it together and get back up
Wow.
and start doing something."
Wow.
Because
Wow.
yeah, you only need to start
Wow.
squeezing up and stuff. So, but my joints, I remember I used to have bad muscle and joint pains. I remember that probably is the worst for me. And
Wow.
some days when I get up and I achy, child, I'll start talking. I'll say, "Child, devil, you better get out of this room today."
Right.
I
Right.
literally, I do that. My sister would be
Right.
like, "Girl, this girl going crazy." I'd be
Right.
like, "Child, you better get out of here. Wrong house, wrong address.
I
Get
agree
out of
with
here.
you.
Go next door, find another address.
Yes.
It
Man,
ain't
I see
happening."
Maria is saying God is so awesome. Darlene is saying yes, only you and God. Tanisha says he calls you friend. That's what you have to do. But it really brings me to Psalms 91, 1 and 2, which basically says, he who dwells in the shelter of the Most High. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you are able to rest in the shadow of the Almighty
that's
because
right.
you were welcoming him into your space. You were
Exactly.
worshiping, you were meditating, and you were saying, you know what, God, you are my fortress, you are my strength. So when I am weak,
That's right.
I
That's
rest
right.
in your strength, right? So mindset is totally everything. And here we are, 12 years of survivorship later. I
Yes, ma'am.
celebrate that
That's
along with
right. That's
you.
right. God
12
is
years
good.
of survivorship
12
later.
years later.
How would you say cancer made you stronger? Or how would you say cancer changed your life other than deepening your relationship with Christ? What are the other things that you believe cancer resulted in?
What it did, it changed my perspective on life. Um, Before that, I think for me, and I think even the average individual, you live in life. Sometimes you're consumed with negative or even feelings of doubt and fear and to me and even things to me like for me I look at everything as being so trivial. There's
Mm,
nothing. I always tell my mommy that it's nothing for you to really be getting bent out of shape over if
right.
you really think about it. Like I don't care how bad a situation could be, and sometimes things can be bad. But I always just tell her, if this is your last day on earth, would this matter?
Right.
Like I always put things in perspective. Like
That's a
is
powerful
it is
question.
no, seriously, that's what that's the question I ask myself with everything.
Right.
If I'm upset, if I start to get upset over anything or bend out of shape, because as humans, you can go down that road. I'll be like, Anita, if this is your last day, God give you this insight, tell you say, this it, tomorrow you gone. You will be wasting time over this. What you'll be doing right now, what would really
Right.
make sense right now? What
Right.
energy would you be? And for me, if it ain't that serious, I ain't even putting that energy into that. I ain't
Mm,
trying to be upset. At the end of the day, sometimes what is it to forgive somebody? What is
yeah.
it to help somebody? What is it
Yeah.
to be that nice person? What would you
Yeah.
want to be if this is your last day, or this is your
Yeah.
last minute, or your last few moments on earth? What would you be doing?
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
I always say. So I put things into perspective. And for me, I realized that, hey, I said to myself, and this is a promise I made to God. I was like, something, if I get through this, I am going to live my life with purpose. I'm
Yes.
not wasting time on foolishness. Not to say I may not get caught up every so often. I'm not going to get upset. I'm human. But trust me, anyone who knows me, I don't dwell in that.
Yes.
If you see me even thinking of something, I bounce on that very quickly because
Yeah.
I'm conscientious about it, and I'm
Yeah.
always aware and
Yeah.
about what's happening. So
Yeah.
even if I get upset, even when it comes to my children will tell you. If you see me, even if they do something to upset me, I could tell them about it. And that's one thing, I don't internalize anything either. If I have a problem, I'm going to tell you I have a problem.
Yes.
And I am not going to be upset. Some people, they think you're upset because you have a problem. I don't get upset. And I want
Yeah.
you to tell me if you have a problem.
And you
And
got
I
to
ain't going to be
set a
upset with you
fire.
either. As a matter of fact, I identify with that and I appreciate that. Because
Yes.
I am not too big to say I'm sorry. And even
Yes.
my children, I tell them, okay, if I upset you, I'm sorry, but this is why I reacted like
Yes.
this because of what you said. And I tell you now, how would you feel? I like to communicate.
Yes.
Okay? But I'm
Yes.
gonna let you know I love you. I want the best for you. And this is the reason why I'm telling you, like I'm gonna tell you this plainly. So you're not gonna
Yeah.
have to wonder if mommy love me. Mommy never say she love me. My children can tell you, I can tell them I love them. I can tell you if it's a problem. I want you to tell me if you have a problem. And
Yes.
let's keep this line of communication open. That's what I do with everybody. I call friends, everything.
Yes.
My parents, everybody. I do that with everyone. And because life is too short, we can't take
Yeah.
things for granted and we're not here forever. And that's
Correct.
something I came to realize it. We're going through my walk and my journey. I understand that. And
Yes.
it's about maximizing the time that you have here, living
Yeah.
life,
Absolutely.
loving people, being there for people, helping people, because that's what we're here for.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so for me, I live life more purposeful. I don't have time to with all the little hang-ups and all the I don't have time for that. And even if I am in an atmosphere with persons that exude that, I can't remain in that space too long
Yes.
because it will pull you down into a
Yes, it
bad
will.
place.
Yes.
So I think it
That's
just
powerful.
changed my perspective on life, on living my life with intention
Yes.
and just being the best person. I always tell people I live in to make God proud.
Yes,
You
I love
know,
it. Now,
yeah, I
listen,
want
you
him
got
to.
this chat on fire, Siobhan. You say, come all the way through it. The Psalms. Diane is saying, praise the Lord. God is awesome. Siobhan is
Yes,
saying, yes. Judy is saying, preach, girl. And I see Diane is saying, glory, speak it, girl. That's just so freeing. So
yes,
you're not holding on to trauma. You're not holding things inside for
no,
bitterness and anger. Like you're releasing it. You're just like, okay,
you
this is
have to
what it
release
is.
it
I
because
let
that's
you
what
know,
makes you
we
sick.
talk through it and
Yeah,
just work through it. So as we
yeah,
begin to wind down our interview, Diane is saying, Yes, living to make God proud.
Proud,
We
exactly.
begin to wind down our interview. I know that you had becoming a event for women to help with healing and help women to become, right? Like the word becoming says,
Exactly.
which is a part of your purpose now to help women get through whatever it is that you're
Yes,
going
yes.
through. Did this come as a part of your mission as a result of surviving cancer?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It's so much. It's so much. I tell people I have my brain is like overwhelmed with so many different things that I know I need to be doing, but it's like
Yeah.
I have to do it. I have to, it's like you gotta take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
But I just love to help people.
Okay.
And and before I even started to really step out to say, to really put on an event or to even host an event, um, I would always, God has always been showing me this.
Yes.
I would tell you, especially since my cancer diagnosis, etc. Even in terms of in my immediate circle of friends, I am always just in talking, like not to say I'm trying to do this, it's like a natural thing. I am always the person who always could be motivating someone, pushing you to do this. When you down, I always be the person to try to help uplift you,
Mhm.
to just show you, let's okay, we could do this. And if I gotta
Yes.
tell you, look here, I come in, we doing this.
Yes.
You ain't giving up on yourself. We could
Love
do
it.
this. And
Yes.
even with my mommy, even with my sisters, even with everybody that's just, so I realize that's a part of my calling. It's
Yes.
something
You
that I
become,
naturally do.
yes,
It's
you
not, and I
become a
tell people,
light
I
in
don't
the
think
world.
about it. It's just who I am.
Yeah. You
And
become a
so for
light in the
me,
world.
right. So
Yeah.
if you know what your strengths are and you realize, I've come to realize what my purpose is. Before it was like trying to figure out what my purpose is, what my purpose is. But the more you pray and the closer you establish a relationship with God, He shows you exactly what you need to be doing.
Yes.
Now,
Absolutely.
oftentimes we may not take heed, but
Yes.
it's being obedient.
Yes. Yes.
And obedience sometimes you have to just step out the box because if you
You
look
teach
at
it.
everything, aligning everything, the
Yes.
devil will show you every reason why you shouldn't do this. Because it's gonna be like,
Yes.
girl, you ain't got that money. What you talking about? Girl, that ain't gonna happen.
Right.
You going crazy. It's not gonna happen. But once you step out in obedience and you start to act
Yes.
in your purpose, the doors will open. He will
That's it.
align you with the
Are you
individuals
preaching?
and he will align you with everything that needs to
Yes.
happen to make
Absolutely.
this thing a
Yes.
success.
Yes.
And that and I can tell you that's the story of my life. So
Yes.
for me now, it's just walking in obedience. I
Awesome.
ain't trying to overthink it. If he tell
Yeah.
me to do it, child, I
Yeah.
just could do it. I know
Yeah.
it ain't for me to figure it out. I say it ain't for me to
Correct.
figure it out, all right, because I can't even figure it out. But
Yes.
he already know why he placed this thing in my
Yes.
spirit to do. And
Mhm.
so I just gotta do what he asked me to do,
Agreed.
you
Agreed.
know?
Yeah. So my
Yeah, but
final
it's all
question
about
to you.
helping people, man. Helping people. And I don't know
Yes.
why I'm so passionate about helping women, but it's
Because it's
because
your
most
purpose.
women I come in contact with, they're going through so
Yes.
much. And it's not
Yes.
only cancer survivors, they're going through
Yes.
so much and
Yes.
just hiding behind the facade of holding
Yes.
it all together.
Yes. Yes.
So it's
Wow.
just being that
A lot,
support,
a
being
lot, a
that help.
lot of meat
Yes,
tonight.
a lot of
So
women.
my final question for you tonight is what is your advice to women? You know, sometimes people are ashamed by a cancer diagnosis. They hide away.
Yeah.
They don't want people to know that they have had cancer. They struggle alone, even though they're facing depression and all of these things that pull them down. What advice would you give to someone who either has been diagnosed with cancer and is having treatment or is a survivor? They're done with treatment about support groups.
Well, I would tell you this. Support groups are very important. Um, I just did an interview actually with that was at the BCPOU hall yesterday, and I was telling the lady, I told them you can't walk this journey alone. And oftentimes persons are not blessed with family members, and oftentimes too your family members going through more than what you're going through mentally. Because you'll be surprised. You'll feel as though you are diagnosed with cancer, so you actually have to physically go through this. But
Mhm.
oftentimes they are so afraid. I think for me, I was stronger than my family.
Wow.
They were terrified.
Wow.
My grandmother, I mean, God bless her soul, she's passed now. Um, I think she thought I was gonna die, to be
Wow.
honest,
Mm-hmm.
because um, cancer, especially in this culture, once you get cancer, and if you think about years back, cancer equals death sentence. When you
Mm-hmm.
and even growing up, that is what I even used to hear. You have someone have cancer, you automatically already dying. That's just what it used to be linked to. And for me, I had to change that culture within myself. I had to I was like, something, um, God is above all. And I don't really care what people say. At the end of the day, I would say he's the same God back then
Mm-hmm.
as is now. We just don't see the miracles that we should experience on earth because of lack of faith.
Yes.
A lot of people speak it, but they don't really believe it. You have to believe it
Yeah.
in your heart. If you
Yeah.
believe it, trust me, that miracle's coming true. But if
Mm-hmm.
you saying it or just saying it rhetorically, oh, it sounds good to say, oh, I trust God, I believe God, but deep down in your heart, you don't really believe Him. You thinking the opposite deep down, but you just speaking out your mouth. No, that's where the problem comes in. You got to
Yeah.
believe His word. You got to stand, hold Him His promises, and He will follow through. So
Mm-hmm.
my thing is, as a survivor, it can be very hard, or even as being a recently diagnosed person, can be very hard when you have to walk that, and especially if you have family who may not be as strong. It's because of fear, really. They're
Mm-hmm.
afraid. They're afraid because they're oh my God, they're afraid of what's going to happen to
Yeah.
you. And that's what it's really all about. So it's not as though they don't want to support you. Sometimes they can't. They don't even know how to be that support for you. But if
Yes.
you are in a support group with fellow survivors who have already walked this journey, already gone through these things, experienced these things, they can help you through this. They can
Yeah.
tell you what you need to do to make this burden a little bit lighter.
Yes.
They can give you the advice that you need, because sometimes your family, they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know. So I encourage persons to find support system,
Yes.
when you're going through, and that's, I guess, with any area of your life, you have to
Yeah.
find a support system and
Yeah.
determine who your tribe is,
Yeah.
and get involved,
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
involved. Don't stay silent. Oftentimes, when you're silent, and I can tell you because initially when I first got diagnosed, I was not as verbal. I always would help, but only people who were close to me, I would really share with and talk to and stuff. But then as I started to elevate in my journey and my walk with God, I'm like, I'm not going to be. I have to share my story. I have to talk. I have to be able to talk to people, try to help people.
Yes.
Because you'll
Oh,
be surprised to open your mouth and be like, gee, I was feeling the same way. Oh, that ain't not that. Oh, that ain't. Oh, I'm not strange. Or it's not. This ain't a strange thing for me to feel like this.
yes.
Sometimes even after cancer, I tell people, I had friends who were diagnosed after me, and I would tell them, when they say, "Girl, I be having hot flashes," I say, "Girl, that's a normal thing. Yeah, you gonna be feeling like all kind of things crawling on you. Or
Yeah.
I will be feeling all kind of foolishness. I don't even
Right.
know. You'll be feeling all,
Right.
and it's different for different people. But
Yeah.
if you hear it, you'll be like, okay, I need to be alarmed. This is
Right.
part of it.
Right.
You understand? So
Yeah.
it's like you have to be willing to share. You have
Yeah.
to be willing to help
Yeah.
and reach out, you
Yeah.
know. And even when I find some persons who are more introverted, you have to reach out to them. You have to reach out to them. Try to keep in contact. Keep checking on them because some people they don't open up. They don't.
Yeah.
They're just introverts. They just but then that is not really a good thing because you internalize a lot.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I will tell you with cancer, stress, internalizing, that ain't it really no, it's not really a good thing because
Yes.
it festers and it eats away. It
Yeah.
eats away. And you'll find yourself, I tell you, any illness, if you internalize a lot and you holding things in, grudgeful, resentful, you feel with all these things, trust me, you will feel aches will start to manifest, but you don't know. You and the doctor and they can't figure what's going on with you.
Correct.
Because you just filled with so much.
Yes.
You have to release. Because I
Yeah.
always tell people, if you close the eye to tomorrow, these things, what could happen? There are things you manifest, holding in that don't make no sense. Let them things
Agree.
go.
So Diane says she agrees with you. You have to be 100% sold out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. If you're watching now or catching the replay and you want to learn more about Anita's story, please click the link that will take you to the GD Caring and Sharing Cancer Support Group website where you can download the Evolving Woman magazine. If your heart leads you to make a donation to the GD Caring and Sharing Cancer Support Group, There's a link there that will lead you to donations as well to help to support the work that we do. And I'm also going to come back and put our wish list for bras. Our bras and our breasts have started to come in. I'm so excited about that. And as we close, Anita, I want to just remind you of Psalms 91, 11 through 12, which says that for he will command his angels concerning you, Anita, to guard you in all of your ways. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. And essentially, that verse is to remind you that as you fulfill your purpose on this earth, as daunting as it may seem, that there are angels assigned to you to carry you, there are destiny helpers assigned to bring this vision to life. There are workers assigned to help you tarry through everything that needs to be done to share your story and to help other women heal and release. So, as you are an encourager to others, I want to encourage you tonight to continue to be a light in the world, to continue to allow others to see God's goodness in you, allow them to see the positivity in you, because I can testify that you are a light in the world. Every interaction with you is positive.
Thank you.
Every
Thank you.
interaction with you is encouraging. And cancer has definitely helped you to become.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
so very much for being on our Facebook Live. I'm going to remove you from the frame, but don't leave. I'll come to you in just a second. Let me just bring you back so you can say thank you to everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening, and I really, really enjoyed.
Okay, so hang on for me. So I want to thank everyone for watching tonight's live, for commenting. Please make sure that you share the live so that we can share Anita's story with others so that they can see evidence of the fact that you can use cancer to fulfill purpose. It is not a death sentence. May God bless you all and have a good night. See you again soon. Bye.